From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, January 8th, 2024. Good morning. We've got a lot to talk about here. The pattern is certainly changing across North America, bringing in some much colder air to the prairie and some chances for some accumulating snow across the region. So a very amped up jet stream pattern. We've got systems coming in from the west, kind of phasing with this very amplified subtropical jet stream, and we've got a very active storm track then kind of racing through this area. But in the process, we're bringing in a couple more in the way of active storm systems that come in out of the northwest and deliver a couple of corridors of snow. So we'll look at the radar here early this morning. Some flurries on the Saskatchewan-Manitoba border. Maybe some very light flurries across far northeastern portions of Alberta this morning, but we have more snow to talk about over the next 4 to 5 days and some much colder temperatures as well over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Those temps right now, getting started Monday morning, much colder than they were a week ago at this time, anywhere from minus 15 to minus 20 across much of the prairie proper. And as we look at the last 7 days of precipitation, again, not really, not a soaker pattern, not one that's brought heavy corridors of snow, but certainly much more active than it has been compared to the month of December. January and December should be quite contrasting when we look at temperatures and precipitation. A much more mild, quiet December compared to a colder, more active January. So we'll talk about what that looks like, what that means for us in the next 7 days here. Over the next 10 days, just taking a broad look at the precipitation pattern across North America. Again, a very active jet stream coming across the Pacific Ocean, bringing a lot in the way of heavy mountain snow and coastal precipitation across British Columbia down into the Pacific Northwest and portions of California. But again, a couple of those systems, they do make their way through the prairie with corridors of snow along the north side there. So the opportunity for a few inches of snow as we look at the forecast through the weekend. This actually takes us through Saturday. So the first part of the weekend, no real heavy snow being forecast for the weekend right now. So these amounts probably fair to say through the weekend. At any rate, looking at anywhere from maybe 4 to 8 inches of snow, very close to Highway 16. That's where we expect the heaviest snow, but all corners of the prairie, they got the opportunity for at least a coating, a couple inches, maybe 2 to 4 across much of the prairie. A lot of that coming from a early to midweek system here. Now, looking at the jet stream pattern, our 500 millibar height anomalies, a big change here. We have now developed a large trough, a large area of upper level low pressure, replacing a large persistent area of high pressure that has been situated across the region. So if we looked at, the December pattern, what I've been showing you here pretty much every week for the last 6+ weeks has been a lot of red shading and a jet stream that does something like that. Ridging across the region, we have been mild, we have been quiet across the prairie. Now, with a pattern like this, again, we've got systems coming in at times bringing impactful doses of snow, that very strong subtropical jet, so we get storms that kind of phase the most active storm track. The heaviest corridors of snow going to be focused here across the plains, into the Midwest, the Great Lakes, portions of Ontario, certainly looking at picking up maybe a foot or more of snow across southern Ontario, some of the ag regions in that area over the next 10 days, as you are certainly well within the hot spot here for the active pattern. But let me animate this. You can see this persistent pattern. The trough continues to amplify and reinforce itself through the end of the week. So it's going to be very cold, opportunities for light snow across the region. Then as we get into the 10 to 14 day time frame, it looks like things kind of want to modify and relax a little bit. We'll talk about what that may mean, but of course, lower confidence, and with plenty going on in the next 7 to 10 days, we'll focus on that. So your precipitation forecast, let's take a look at the snow that we've got here Tuesday into Wednesday. Bring it back. Here's your Monday. That's light snow, light flurry activity continuing through the day. This is the overnight and now Tuesday morning. As we get into Tuesday midday, snow starts spreading across Alberta, expanding into Saskatchewan by the end of the day Tuesday. You can see that low kind of situated right on the Alberta-Saskatchewan border Tuesday afternoon. This would be now after dark on Tuesday. Heading into Wednesday morning, the snow starting to pull into southern Manitoba by Wednesday into Thursday. A second little system on the backside, kind of being aided by high pressure off to the north, gives us a little terrain influence and the chance for some flurries lingering across Alberta into the late part of the week. This would now be Thursday into Friday. We could see some accumulating snow with this. Pretty light, talking about an additional coating up to an inch from the trailing system late week, but as we head through much of the week here, over the next 4 or 5 days, the opportunity for some light snow flurries or some light accumulating snow in most areas just about every day. So certainly a different pattern, even though we don't have maybe a blizzard or a significant disruptive winter storm here. We are changing the pattern across the region. Then we see those additional chances for flurries as we head through the backside of the weekend, and then maybe talk about another system or two making its way in next week. Taking a little more closer view here, kind of zoomed in on Canada, changing the model now, looking at one of our higher resolution, shorter term models. This is the NAM model, and we'll go ahead and focus on the next couple of days with this one. Those flurries across Manitoba, those continue to kind of pull away through the day today. Not much in the way of significant accumulation expected from that. Most corners pretty quiet for your day Monday. It's again Tuesday that this system starts coming in from the west, bringing that snow, spreading across Alberta on Tuesday morning, midday Tuesday, pushing into western and central Saskatchewan by Tuesday evening. And then this main system kind of lifts into Manitoba by the time we get to Wednesday into Thursday. Just had a flying winged insect, like a mosquito or something, just fly by me. It felt very unusual to be seeing that this time of year. A little distracting, but all right, here goes our midweek system, Wednesday to Thursday, pulling away, and then we'll likely see those very light flurry activity continuing into the weekend in some areas. Now, one way to look at this as we talk about how much snow are we going to be seeing over the next week, we'll look at the European ensemble, the probability of picking up 3 inches or more of snow between now and Saturday, January 13th, the conclusion of the day on the 13th. And you can really kind of follow essentially Highway 16 right there, where you got the highest probability, where that system kind of sneaks through. Expecting a narrow corridor there where we could see 4 to 8 inches of snow, but all areas here have that chance for at least a coating, if not an inch or two of snow, to kind of add to some of the wintry vibes, accompanied by those much colder temperatures. Now, the snow, the cold, not really accompanied by much in the way of high winds over the next week, which is nice. They will be blustery at times, especially as our Tuesday, Wednesday system makes its way across the prairie, but we're talking about wind gusts peaking maybe anywhere from 30 to 40 kilometers per hour across far southern areas of the prairie. Other areas probably talking about 20 to maybe 35 kilometer per hour wind gusts. So that is on the the high side throughout the entirety of the week. So blustery at times, but not much in the way of real significant winds, creating issues with a lot of reduced visibility or extreme cold across the region. Now, we are bringing in much colder air, so the temperatures will be, rather on the extreme side for at least a few days. You see that as the loop plays out. There's the cold coming in here over the end of the week into the weekend, but you see it modify there. It's starting to moderate. We lose the extreme cold. So the good news is, it is going to be very cold, but right now it doesn't look like an extreme cold outbreak that just plants itself over the prairie and lasts for 2, 3, or more weeks. As you kind of look at the next 10 days in Calgary, you see it right there. We bottom out, and then you start to climb back up as we head into the back half of the month. So this is what we've kind of talked about, kind of leading up to this point. The winter background state really favors mild temperatures, but there's going to be snaps in that pattern. We're going to bring some colder air in, and that is what's happening now. And it wouldn't surprise me then, after 4 or 5 real cold days across the region, if we don't start to kind of moderate again, getting back up to, what might be mild or at least closer to average for mid-January, and perhaps we do this dip once again at some point here through the rest of the winter. So a very similar look throughout the entirety of the prairie. Edmonton, you're talking about lows approaching minus 40 over the weekend. Those highs anywhere from minus 25 to minus 30. I'll jump back to Calgary. Your lows here minus 32, minus 33 as we head into the weekend. Regina, very similar look. You all are headed for well below minus 30 for your overnight lows, at least a couple of nights here over the weekend. Saskatoon, a very similar look. And then Winnipeg, we will finish with you. You're cold right now, a little warmer as the Tuesday, Wednesday system approaches the area. That high all the way up to a balmy minus 8 on Wednesday, back down to highs of minus 20. Overnight lows, minus 25, minus 26 over the weekend into early next week for you in Winnipeg. So before I talk to you again, you'll likely be picking up some snow. At least a coating, or maybe up to that 4 to 8 inch mark if you're closer to the Highway 16 area. And those temperatures certainly going to be trending quite a bit colder as well. So I will talk to you on a bitterly cold Monday, January 15th, and we will kind of look at what we've got for the rest of the month of January. Have a great day and a wonderful week. Talk to you again on the 15th.